Old School Lane Casual Chats is brought to you by oldschoollane.blogspot.com and is associated with Channel Frederator, Manic Expression, the Comic Book Cast, and the Arun Mehta Show.
Your breath while you watch me fall. It's easier to say nothing at all. I need a friend, playing pretend's not working. These pills are useless and the shadows keep lurking. Let me go, there's nothing left inside. To run and hide is all I know to survive. The nightmare won't end, this life grows colder. Come wake me up when it's all over.
Some of us made it, but no one deserved it. I'm silent, I'm screaming. Sticks and stones was the run that they taught us. To fight up our monsters, to help numb the darkness. But what they forgot was that you don't need to break my bones for you to break me. The voices won't stop, don't let me be alone. Please someone, I just want to go back home.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Casual Chats. I'm Patricia and I'm here with a very special guest. He is the man behind the indie band Scratch 21. He's also a voice actor and he's also a former abridger for working on Yu-Gi-Oh Gxc the Abridged series. So I have with me Blake Swift, aka ShadyVox. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Oh my god, you rattled off so many things there.
Well, I've known your work for over a decade. I think I first got introduced...
Really?
Yes, I first knew about your stuff since Yu-Gi-Oh Gxc Abridged.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's a long time. That's wow. Yeah. So that's like the sort of big when it started picking up for me. So
yeah,
you've been there since the old school days.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think before then I was doing very, very shameful voiceovers over Disney footage.
Oh, really? I do not know.
Gosh. Yes, it still exists. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it's...
I don't need to know where it exists, but please, I'm curious about, so what thing in Disney in particular?
It was, oh, God, I really did. Very shameful. I think I was around 16, 15, maybe, perhaps even younger, maybe, but I think around that. And it was doing voiceovers to, like, Oliver and Company, Lion King, I can't remember, there was another one. But it was just basically voicing over the footage and doing stupid, ridiculous scripts that are absolutely terrible. They are of no quality at all. I'm fairly surprised they haven't been claimed, considering they use Disney footage, but yeah, they're still around somewhere. But oh gosh, yeah, I think that was my first video. Actually, no, before that I did a speedrun of Sonic on a Green Hill Zone.
Oh, okay.
With my friend. We had Through the Fire and the Flames as background music.
Ah, of course it was.
Classic Dragon Force, gotta be.
Classic
2006 YouTube. But yeah, so, oh gosh, yeah, those Disney videos, yeah, those are old.
Yeah. So is that where you got your interest in doing voiceover, was just doing random stuff on Disney videos?
I think that's initially where it started, certainly. Even, actually, I'm thinking about it now, even before that, I had a friend who I did a voiceover of the Family Guy You're Eating Cool Whip scene with
God.
Ryan and Stewie.
Yes, I
just
know
that
one.
like, I think at that 15-second back and forth, and I think I was like Stewie and he was playing Brian, because I don't know. And I remember the first time that we put the voiceover to replace it, and it had our voices coming out the mouths of the characters. Granted, it's not real audio, but it looked awesome. And we were just ecstatic about it. So I kind of just did it more and more, and then I started exploring into like comedy, parody, things like that, and that opened a whole new avenue of potential. with writing scripts and back and forths and character by character play, reaction, action sort of thing. It was a lot of fun, I think it was the Disney sort of thing that gave that push. Yeah, that's the early days of where I started putting my voice to video.
Awesome, yeah. So, how did you first get involved with Yu-Gi-Oh Gxc Abridged series?
Oh gosh, it was the original was big at the time when it was. I think it was like episode 20 of the original was out, maybe a little bit earlier, but it was going popular. There were people I knew who were interested in it, and it seemed like something to try my chops at. It was also initially I wanted to do Digimon, couldn't find the footage, and I was big into Yu-Gi-Oh at the time with the trading cards when I was in high school, and it just gravitated towards that, and it just kind of went on from there.
Wow. I'm actually curious, before I go into the abridged version, what is your favorite incarnation of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh, gosh. Do you mean series?
Yeah, series.
I don't know anything past GX. I think there's like...
There's 5Ds, there's Zexal, there's Vrains, there's Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, which is the newest one.
Oh, gosh. No, you have to understand, the last time I was playing the card game, polymerization was like limited. You weren't allowed, like, obviously the cards have changed, but
oh yeah,
I tried
there were so many new things nowadays. There's synchro summons, there's like all these like Z summons or whatever, but it's complicated now. Like, oh my goodness.
Right.
I mean, I saw the trailer for Yu-Gi-Oh 7s and they have all these like really interesting rules that I never even heard of.
It was a big hit for me because I think I dropped around playing the card game around the GX period. I vaguely remember 5Ds, so yeah. I remember, synchro summons. I think I was just on the cusp of that when I stopped playing, and I tried to play it semi-recently, maybe not 6 months ago, sometime late last year, and there's an online edition of it, and I think I know there's an online version, and it seems like it's really like official and supported, but I know there's also fan games, so I'm not too sure which one I played. But it was up to date with the latest rules and sets and themes and everything like that. And I couldn't play. I just could not understand what was happening at all. But if you throw me down on OG, then might have a challenge,
right?
Maybe. I'm very rusty.
Gotcha. I think what the game that you're referring to is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, which is the official Yu-Gi-Oh! Game that you could play on your PC and your iPhones and I think Androids, but I'm not sure. But yes, they do actually have Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds in there where you do get to do synchro summons. And
right.
Yeah, and also just about a few months ago, they just updated, so they feature characters from Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. So the characters from the movie are in there too.
Right. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I do remember playing it on PC. I tried. I really did. I had my mind open, and it was so different. It was such a shock to me. Just how much it. Not like this is terrible. But there's so many new sets and things, and I see these people playing it, and they're just whittling off all I'm doing this, and this means that this. I cannot keep up at all.
Oh, I get you. I get you.
You play one card on the field, and suddenly everyone's shuffling the deck, and there's a whole new field of cards. I'm like, what just happened?
Right, exactly. Like, it's like, I'm setting up the traditional ones, but then I have to set up this summons in a separate thing. It's like, huh? What? You lost me. Right.
I didn't, you need your summons pile. What's that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't know. You can clearly tell I don't know.
Right. So going into the abridged version, so I'm curious about where did the persona of your interpretation of Jaden come from?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think it was just the character initially was very excited, quite boisterous, loud, proud, always looking for a fight. And I think it was just a case of what if the dials are just completely turned and he basically becomes a very sarcastic, witty, well, I don't know, witty, I guess that would be, I would like to hopefully, sarcastic sort of lead that the show was following. And there was no sort of personality in mind, like bullet points to follow, like he would react this way or do whatever. It was very just sort of what was funniest sort of deal. But over time, it did flesh out into how he was. But I think it was also the case of wanting to grow in terms of writing, maybe trying jokes that would be a little bit hit and miss. Certainly learned a lot about how to, what works in a, not for an audience, but you kind of try and write what makes you laugh.
Right.
And sometimes what makes you laugh doesn't always get a laugh for everybody else. There are some compromises that you do try to consider, but there was no persona in mind necessarily for Jaden. Certainly not that I felt. It's just how the writing seemed to gravitate.
Okay.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, look, it's the Sliver Slack Race.
What? Want to say that again? You want to repeat that? You fucking prick! Huh? You want to fucking start something? Come on, let's go! 3-on-3, red versus blue, no cam kills, I'll you up!
Just calm down, guys.
Shut the up, Ted! We're all pumped, we're ready to fucking go! Let's do this!
Burn.
That's right, prison rules. Cyrus hasn't eaten in days.
I want the one in the middle.
Me too. Yeah, that's right! You better fucking walk away, you blue bastards! Huh? Huh? I wonder what those blue bastards were talking about.
I think it was about the dual giant.
So what, you talk again now?
No, not really. It just kind of comes and goes. So, that dual giant
No. Chumley? What the f***? Is that your gimmick? Do you think you're funny? Huh? You fat f***? Look me in the eye and say one sentence. One sentence. I don't like you.
So I take it that, with everything that you've done with this series and, all the stuff that you've learned, I remember this must have been over a decade ago, or maybe, I think like almost a decade ago. I remember that you were doing a live stream and you were just like watching, the very first episode, not the one that you did with X the Dark one, like the legit first episode in a live stream, and you were just like cringing.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, and I still struggle to watch that today. I would prefer it doesn't exist at all.
Sure.
But that is just the growing curve of trying to make silly videos on the internet. But yes, unfortunately, I do recall that instance that you're referring to.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes, I do. I wouldn't recommend anybody watching it.
Yes.
Unless you are specifically looking to be losing IQ for 10 minutes. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like you said before, everybody needs to start somewhere. Nobody starts off as a genius immediately,
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. And it's took me a long time to figure out what works and what doesn't work for me. I'm still figuring things out as I go now that I've moved away from that chapter and sort of delved more into making music and voiceover, occasionally getting me work in as well. But yeah, absolutely. But when, as you mentioned, been over 10 years, I think even more so than that, if you talk predating abridged stuff, maybe you're looking at about 13 years
Wow.
of at least, I wouldn't say making content, but at least posting material linked to myself. Yeah, God, 13 years, it seems so long.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, with that amount of time, a person who was born when you started is already in middle school.
That's so strange to me. This is, don't get older. You never want to do this.
Exactly, yeah. So going in...
I saw a... sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was going to reflect a little bit. It's just a strange comment.
Please, go ahead.
I've seen a little GIF of a toddler playing the OG Game Boy and trying to swipe the screen.
Oh, I know which video you're talking about. Is that Yes, is that the React video where like kids are, like they have like a group of kids and they would give them something that's like, react to this, and the kids are like, touching the screen and they're like, why is this thing so bulky? I think I've seen that video.
I think that might be. I'm not too sure if it's taken from that. I remember seeing a cut of it and just seeing maybe a 4 or 5 year old child just trying to swipe the screen of an OG Game Boy.
Oh my god!
And that for me was a hit in the chest.
That's wow. Okay then. Well,
I'm an old puppy.
I think I'm actually older than you.
Oh really?
I'm 34.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet now.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I'm a baby then.
It's okay. I mean, I'm used to it at this point, where I have guests on the show or co-hosts that are slightly younger than I am. But on the upside, I've had people who are actually much older than I am that I've interviewed. So people who are in their like 50s, because I usually interview like actors, actresses, and content creators and various showrunners who've been in the industry for decades. So whenever I talk about things that, this was from my childhood, and I was like, I feel old now. So, yeah.
Oh, right. Well, you have such a lovely, youthful voice.
Oh, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Same for you. I mean, absolutely.
No, not anymore. No. If you watch the videos, I was a baby boy. I've had 2 puberty breaks in the last, 5 years, I would say.
Well, I call it experience with age.
That's a lovely way to word that. I'm going to start using that myself.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, so I'm actually curious, looking into your stuff, especially with the names that you go by. So the name ShadyVox, where did that come from?
ShadyVox was a weird sort of name that stuck because before that I actually went by a different tag on YouTube. But I used to do DJing on Habbo Hotel fansite. I'm going back to when I was little.
Wow.
And it was like a little laptop, a little stick microphone, a program called, I still remember it, Sound 2 Broadcaster.
Oh, wow.
If anybody can figure out the year when that was released, that'd be very helpful.
Okay.
But that was a little software, and you would load music on. You could never do this now. You would load your playlist on it, and you would play it. It would stream the music onto a website. And basically people playing Habbo Hotel would come to these websites, and the people who are DJing would also be on Habbo Hotel, and they would like, this is all, I don't even know if the game operates this way anymore. Mm-hmm. You could have like parties, giveaways, prizes sort of thing. It was hosted by the radio. And on there, I went by the name DJ Shadow. Please don't laugh. DJ Shadow. And it, over time, got shortened to Shady for short. When I had the original tag on my YouTube and I lost access to that, I made a new YouTube channel that was focused on voiceover, Vox being Latin for voice.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to go ShadyVox, and that's how the name came to be, and that's just stuck now for, I think about 12 years, I think.
Wow. And, I'm looking at your avatar right now, this lion character. Is there any particular reason why the character has heterochromia?
It just stuck like that. Shady was actually initially designed, the little lion dude that I use as my little mascot, Shady, was initially designed in a game in the late 2000s called Impressive Title. And it had like a little character maker, and you could change pelts. And I had a little Heterochromia thing enabled, and I went with a blue and a... I still, canonically, I wouldn't be able to tell you which left and which blue is, green, or I wouldn't be able to tell you which eye is whichever.
Right.
I just pass the art on to artists, and they draw, and I go, yeah, that's him. But it was just a little design choice that's not reflective of myself or anything that I have, but I just thought it was a very simple design. He's kind of like a little, I don't know, chocolate ice cream kind of with ketchup on top, and I just gave him a little blue and green eye. it's probably the most interesting design about him.
Now, would this be like the prototype for Matt, your character from Scratch 21, or is this like a completely different character?
Oh, no, absolutely different, completely different characters altogether. I do like using the little lion as a lead for the stuff I do, so that's why I made Matt specifically a lion.
Oh, right, cool. So going into your voiceover stuff, so what would you say have been your favorite projects that you've ever worked on?
Oh, gosh. I have had some one-off gigs for some videos that have done quite well, and some that I have been involved in that I thought were going to do better for my own personal stuff that didn't quite go as well as I thought. But I'm quite particular to the button mash stuff, the Pymation stuff with Sean. I don't really get too many voiceover gigs now. Everything's just sort of pitter-patter. I've had radio jingles before. Those are quite nice. Those are quite easy to do. And I've got a rolling gig currently with some Minecraft channels where I do top 10 things you didn't know about Minecraft. And,
nice.
I'm learning more about the game, and what I'm realizing is, since I haven't played it, a lot has changed, just like the Yu-Gi-Oh game.
Interesting. What do you know? I mean, yeah. I personally don't really delve into that kind of stuff because every time when it comes to like one of those like custom made, you know, the whole thing is blank and you get to create your own world. I'm terrible at that stuff. I get requests all the time saying like, oh, you know, when are you gonna do a Minecraft video? When are you gonna do a Mario Maker or something like that? It's like I don't do that. I'm not good at that stuff. So. Yeah.
It's much better as an experience to have it with plenty of friends. Definitely, 100%.
I can see that.
Yeah. Solo's a little bit, you kind of got to entertain yourself. But having it with friends, fantastic.
I can see the appeal of that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I think that with your voiceover stuff, now, I'm sure that we have, our listeners out there who are probably wanting to get into, maybe voiceover or acting or anything like that. So what advice would you give them?
It's a good question. I can't give anything that's how to get into the industry because I don't really operate that way the way I work. I work from home. I have clients that reach out to me. I'm quite fortunate in that I very rarely have to audition. It's usually people approach me first. But to get yourself out there, you absolutely need to have a demo reel showcasing what you can do. Different voices, your highs, your lows. Yelling also is good to have to show that you have that freedom to go loud if the director needs it. Putting that on your YouTube channel, having a link to it in your socials, advertising yourself. Auditions, if they're there, go for it. Sometimes you won't always be able to get a gig that will pay, but sometimes it might put your name on a channel that has fairly decent views or sort of thing. You've got to kind of play it by ear. I had to take 3 gigs initially when I started. I don't know necessarily if it helped me too well, but definitely getting your name out there, audition for what you can, and hopefully get your name shared around. Deadlines are important. Make sure that you can stay up to them. Equipment-wise, you don't need hundreds of thousands of whatever dollars worth of equipment. You can do it quite reasonably at home now. If you're going to go for it, you need to actually go for it, and then you could be surprised where it takes you, really.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, I'm actually curious about, what made you lead over from doing your voiceover stuff into music?
It just seemed to be getting more hits, more people interested. I still had occasional voice work involved in projects with other people, but I wasn't really doing anything big on my own creatively. And especially with content ID rules constantly changing.
Oh, yeah.
My initial ShadyVox channel got hit because I had the music video for Stronger on there, and it used the footage from the movie. And simply put, I don't want to risk using anybody else's visual footage on my... It's not worth the risk at all. And doing original stuff seemed to be garnering in more reception. More people were interested. Making music seemed to ring something more creative within myself, and I really enjoyed what I was making. And I was getting hired more by people to make jingles, original tracks, parodies, instrumentals, covers. It became a way of living, basically. I still do voice work on the side, and I think quite a few people know me, if not mostly primarily from my voiceover work, but I still get gigs occasionally, but music just took a whole new focus with the demand.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely tell with listening to your very first album, Scratch 21, that it sounds actually really personal. It sounds like, whoever that the person, that you're portraying as in it, has gone through a lot of things, whether it be like trying to impress a girl, but the girl's not into him because, he's very shy, or a person who's going through massive depression and suicidal thoughts and, breakup and trying to get back together. Is that based off of your personal experiences?
Yeah, the personal anecdotes, events that I've translated into tracks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I feel that you get a more personal and genuine connection to a song, writing things like that. You obviously have to sort of also make a compromise creatively to try and make things catchy, pretty. There has to be some sort of melody with it, and learning how to take a track that is not just a case of a sort of throwaway kind of, I'm just going to pick one theme, like we're here to party, we're going to party all night long. That, that sort of, we've heard it before in loads of pop songs sort of thing. I think I'd like to hope that a lot of musicians try to write something personal, but for me, it definitely was an outlet. As well as a creative endeavor.
I think a lot more people tend to, when they think of music, they do think of like, oh, it's just like some sort of manufactured corporate song that, you need to have something catchy. I mean, it doesn't matter how benign that the lyrics are, just as long as we get the listeners and the people tuning in. But I think that when it comes to indie singers, especially since a lot more of them have been popping up, they do tend to lean more towards like personal stuff. I've heard people singing about everything from breaking up to suicide to depression to everything. So I think that more people, if they want to hear something more like that, then they definitely tune into indie music, which I'm glad that it's a lot more available now than ever. Like I have all that stuff on my Spotify and Bandcamp and all that stuff, as opposed to like you need to go to like this little vinyl record store that has that one record dealer who knows about all the obscure stuff, while everybody's like tuning into like, do you have this person who plays this music, and they don't even know what you're talking about.
It used to be the case that if you wanted a song off an album, but it wasn't like a number one or whatever, that was quite off the track that a lot of people don't know of, you'd have to buy the whole CD in order, even if you just wanted to listen to that one track.
Yes.
That's as far back as it goes for me. But yeah, the music realm has changed so much. It's instant gratification. I can make a song, or I can compose, arrange, and do whatever.
Sure.
And I could have it done in an hour, and I could have it live, and then I've got another track that I don't have to go through a studio, a label, a management agency or anything like that. It's completely changed the game for artists, and there's so many more popping up now, as you said. I think because it's just so accessible, and we're seeing so many incredible talents with being able to come forward now.
Exactly, yeah. You can be able to be your own boss. You can be your own producer. Like, you don't need to know somebody in order for you to say, I want you to get my foot in the door. You can do it yourself. Yeah. And I think that it's interesting that, many people who are in the industry are saying, man, I wish I had this when I first started, because, things will be a lot easier for me to do. But here's the thing. That's the problem. everybody can do it. So you need to be able to stand out to everybody else because it's available. You can post your stuff out there. You just need to be able to work smart and work in a different way to get yourself noticed compared to everybody else.
Yeah, I don't want to say it is a luck game, because there's certainly ways to play a system in terms of getting views or reactions or people to click your stuff. There's certainly different ways that you can elicit a response to that. But ultimately, if the content's not good, I don't think people are going to stick around for it. But, you know, everybody's taste is completely different.
Sure.
But, yeah, and it's only, I don't know how much it can go further on from here in terms of music going out there. I don't know, one button pressing and CDs are being printed in your house or something. I have no idea.
I don't know either, but you know what? That's the good thing about not knowing, because it could be something that we didn't even expect. So, I mean, it could be like, maybe like like a certain device that you can be able to put into your mind, and then when you think about a particular song, it automatically comes in, or something like that. Yeah, yeah. Nobody knows. I mean, that's just the interesting thing about the future, is that, you know, we never know what could happen. I mean, you for some things it might be a struggle, but who knows? Maybe like 20, 30 years from now will be like the easiest thing in the world. So, I mean,
I can essentially make music on the go with my phone using GarageBand if I get an idea. That is, you know, creative. It's just immediate that I'm able to have that access, and then I can take it home and I can translate it, and I could, on a train ride or something, I could write half a song in 2 hours. While not even being at a desk or a studio.
Wow. That's insane. I mean, I spoke to Jared Faber, who is a very well-known TV composer. I interviewed him for a podcast that I did a few years ago called We're in Between, which was an As Told by Ginger podcast. But nowadays he does shows for Netflix, and he works on Cartoon Network doing the soundtrack for Teen Titans Go. And he told me that... And yeah, he told me that all the stuff that he did when he first started working on Ginger, because that was the first cartoon that he ever composed for, he told me that everything that he has ever done, like he did like the guitars and the drums, and he hired like maybe a person who played like a few instruments or so, and he was able to like mix it by himself. But he told me that everything that he did 20 years ago, he can easily do it in a computer.
Yes.
Which is unbelievable.
Right. Yep, with a laptop and the right instruments, granted there's thousands upon thousands of free instruments, but there are premium ones as well, but I'm talking big numbers. You don't have to go for those. Those are like for the big studio sort of thing.
Sure.
But you can get a gorgeous sounding orchestra of strings and violins and cellos and so many things that you will never have to pay for someone to come into the studio, pay them for their time, their recording, do it again. You just tap it in, and you've got so many controls that you can just make a realistic sounding orchestra in home. The sounds are absolutely immense.
Yeah. Now for those who are listening, this is not just like, you get that software and then you just click a button and you do it. You have to take the time in order for you to think of a melody, think of how you want to compose it, and then you have to put it together. So it's not that easy, even though it sounds easy.
Yeah, so there's a whole new skill in making music that's been developed, and that's the programming side.
Right.
Whereas ordinarily you just record your guitar and then a mixer handles it. You record your vocals and now everyone is learning how to not only record, but how to technically produce their own songs, which is a very, very useful skill for anybody looking to pursue music, especially if you can produce your own sound, then you can make your own content.
Absolutely, yes. So yeah, I want to wrap things up. So I want to say, if you wish to, if you can think back on everything that you've done, you've done your voiceover, you've done your music and all the other things. When you first started to, where you are now, how would you say how far you've come in terms of everything that you've done?
Oh gosh, how far I've come. I don't know how to measure it because there's always the you can go further sort of thing. But I'm not ever going to be expecting that I'm going to be on like a, for example, like a network broadcasted sort of cartoon kind of thing doing voiceover. I don't know if I would be able to excel to that level. But definitely come far better than doing bloody voiceover, frigging Lion King, Disney, and all this other bloody crap. Yeah, I'm quite happy with what I've achieved. I think I'm always constantly learning new stuff, and the exciting thing is learning how to put that into the tool that is my music, my expression, my albums, my songs, my lyrics, and things like that. Yeah, I feel like I would like to hope that I've excelled, well, not excelled, but at least gotten better at being musically inclined and creative.
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you so much for coming on by. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This has been wonderful.
Sure, and please, why don't you, tell people where they can find you at, plug and promote your stuff, and let us know about any upcoming projects that you have.
Sure. My YouTube channel is ShadyVox YT, YT for YouTube, ShadyVox YT. I also have a YouTube channel, Scratch21, where I make original songs, sort of pop punk inspired, working on a new album. I've been working on a new album for a long while, actually, but slowly making progress on that and releasing singles. And I occasionally also stream on my YouTube where I work on music stuff, so maybe worth popping in and saying hi and then leaving because there's nothing to stick around for.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, everyone. Let us know in the comments below about how you first got introduced to Mr. Blake Swift. Was it from the Abridged days? Was it from his voiceover? Was it from his music, Scratch21? Also, or maybe even, the projects that he's been working on, such as the stuff for, like, Pymations or even Minecraft. Thank you so much. Hope to see you around soon, and take care.
Bye-bye.
Save me, I'm drowning so deep in the darkness. I'm waiting for your touch to stop this. There's smoke blinding us with goodbyes, and I keep hope, 'cause this feeling's different, and I know I've staggered so long that it can't go. Alleviate me, I'll be fine.